the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 13. And it reads, "Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts?" Let's read that again, man. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 13. "Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh a wild beast?" First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all glory, all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah, Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to the Akim and the Akwaf that are listening and learn. To you, I say Shalom. This brother Bomb Malak coming at you with a quick lesson. And this lesson is, I came out of Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13, because I was reading a little article out of RT News, and it was about that Sweden is trying to become a NATO ally with America. And that's why I came out of the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. And I also want to look up this word, this charmer, which I have already. So we'll go right to it. It's a person with an attractive and engaging personality, typically one who uses this to impress or manipulate others. And that's what the United States do with its with that I can help you, protect you, give you the protection you need, from other countries, and they got a great personality, but they've always reneged on all their promises, especially the promises that they made with those so-called third world countries, the Iraqis, the Irans, So, and that's why I came out of the book of Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. And we're going to read some of this article, and then we're going to go right to the book of Habakkuk. It said the U.S. to boost military cooperation with NATO hopeful, and that's talking about with Sweden. It's a legal framework is being negotiated on the presence of American soldiers on Swedish soil. American soldiers on Swedish soil. We're going to read the article, man. It's not a long article, so we're going to read it. It said the U.S. Sweden have begun talks on a new security deal that will regulate future U.S. troops deployments to the Scandinavian country, which applied to join NATO last year in response to Russian military action in Ukraine. So Sweden, they saying, hey, man, we want to join NATO because we don't want, Russia, to come and take out their aggression, on us being not a member of NATO, because they feel like Russia gonna go after all non-NATO countries. Obviously, it said the Swedish Defense Ministry outlining negotiations in a statement on Monday, saying officials are now working out the details of a defense cooperation agreement (DCA), which the ministry sees as a natural development of Sweden and the U.S. long-term cooperation in the area of security and defense. Let's continue reading, man. We're just going to read the article, then we're just going to go in the book of Habakkuk. The USA is Sweden's most important security and defense policy partner, both bilaterally and within NATO, it said, by creating the conditions for an American presence in Sweden, including in the form of exercising our security, is strengthened. So they think their security is strengthened, with joining on NATO and with them joining hand in hand with America. It's in addition to regulating the legal conditions for the presence of American forces in Sweden, the DCA will also discover other issues such as access to base areas, advanced storage of materials, and taxes and duties as they relate to future U.S. troop deployments. The U.S. State Department marked the talks with a statement of its own, doubling Sweden a valued defense partner while claiming that the DCA would deepen our close security partners, enhancing our cooperation, multilateral security operations, and together strengthen transatlantic securities. The new deal will build, let's go up. It said the new deal will build on previous security pacts struck in 2016 and 18, the latter of which involved trilateral deals between the U.S., Sweden, and Finland, and comes as both Stockholm and Helsinki aim to join the NATO military alliance sometime this year. Two Nordic states applied for membership last May, both citing new security concerns in the wake of Russian attack on Ukraine, quickly securing approval from most of the U.S.-led bloc. Turkey and Hungary are the two remaining holdouts. However, the Ankara with Ankara, alleging Sweden and Thailand have not done enough to combat Kurdish terrorist organization. Let's continue to read, man. It says Moscow has repeatedly urged against the continual eastward expansion of NATO. You know, they say, hey, man, your NATO is already big enough. That's what Russia pretty much saying. Arguing the alliance seek to encircle Russia with the Western air bases. And Russia saying, what y'all trying to do, you know, what he's saying, y'all want the U.S. military to come in and put their missiles all around Russia so they can hit Russia from every direction. That's what, Russia is afraid of. And Sweden is afraid that Russia is going to come in and invade their land. So everybody, this is an act, man, war is in the air. If 2/3 of you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans don't understand it, war is in the air, man. The presence and the feel of war is in the air. Say Moscow has repeatedly urged against the continual eastward expansion of NATO, arguing that the alliance seek to encircle Russia with Western air bases, nuclear capabilities, capable bombers, and missile launches, among other strategic hardware. However, while Russian President Vladimir Putin previously said his country does not have problems with Stockholm or Helsinki, Russia has nonetheless pledged to adjust its military posture in its northern region if the bloc observes two more members. So they's like, Russia saying, hey, man, we're going to increase our military presence in this other region. If y'all want to continue to try to expand this NATO and try to encircle us. So, and this is the thing with Sweden. Sweden is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Who would pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? And that's exactly what happened. Sweden is coming nigh wild beasts, because these people here, they're wild beasts. And the Swedish people, they pretty much a wild beast as well. But they don't put their hand in a cookie jar. So let's go to the book of Habakkuk. As you can see, it says God's answer to the prophets. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 1. We're going to read a lot of this, man. We'll get a couple of definitions. And it reads, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Lord Yahweh talking to the prophet Habakkuk. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And that's what we're doing. We're running. What you mean run? He ain't talking about go run a 400-meter dash. He's not talking about, just run out, one day you wake up like you Forrest Gump and just start running around the world. No, he's talking about run to these scriptures, run to this wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the holy word. And we filter world events through the scriptures. That's what the Lord Yahweh is telling the prophet Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3, and it reads, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Do it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And these prophecies are coming to pass. And it said, though they tarry, it said wait for it, because it will surely come. It would not tarry, and that's the thing about the Lord Yahweh. His word will never return unto him void, man. And he's telling Habakkuk that. He said, hey, just wait for it. The vision is coming, and we see that the vision is coming in this age. In this age, we see that these prophecies are manifesting themselves right before our very eyes. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And when he's saying his soul, who is his soul? Let's go back to this article. Their souls are not lifted up in them. Talking about the guys that look like these guys, the so-called Idumeans, the Edomites. Behold, his soul, verse 4, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. And that's what America do. They're not upright. Sweden don't know what they've done when they invited the U.S., into their backyard. When they invited, the U.S. into their backyard, they don't know what they done, man. And again, the book Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13, it say, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So who's gonna pity Sweden? No one is gonna pity Sweden. When Russia come and put their foot up their ass for dealing with America, when they could have stayed neutral and been safe from all the madness. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 5, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine his philosophy. That's why we looked up that charmer, a person with an attractive or engaging personality, typically one who uses this to impress or manipulate others. And that's what America gonna do. They're gonna manipulate them with, hey man, we're gonna be your knight in shining armor. We're gonna shield y'all from the Russian possible onslaught. See, they don't impress them with that wine. And let's look up this word wine, man, because our people, sometimes you have to look up words for people, man. And we know this probably, the blue letter probably gonna be going off with this, but in the Hebrew, let's get it. Let's see. They got yayin, and they're gonna be talking about the physical wine. Wine. And it's talking about, again, like I said, man, the blue letter goes off. We know he's not talking about he transgresses by wine. No, he's not talking about no wine. He's talking about his philosophy. Talking about his, what was that? Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Who is a proud man? Let's look. He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home. What they trying to do? They trying to encircle what Moscow has repeatedly urged against the continual eastward expansion of NATO, arguing that alliance seek to encircle Russia with Western air bases. Let's go back to Habakkuk 2 and 5, right? Yea, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. What they want to put their bases over there, who enlarges his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Let's look up this word heapeth, man. Let's look up this word heapeth.
Strong's H6908. Cavats.
What it means? To assemble, gather, to be gathered, collect, assemble, to gather together, be gathered together, to assemble. And that's what he's doing. What? Let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. What? They're assembling, Sweden. The U.S. Sweden most important security and defense policy partner, both bilaterally and within NATO, is said by creating conditions for an American presence in Sweden, including in the form of exercise of security, is strengthened. So, man, you have to look up these words, man. You understand that's what America is doing with Sweden. They're gathering them, assembling them under the banner of NATO under the banner of we're going to be your protection against any Russian aggression. Verse 7. Verse 6. The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. The other nations, they're going to turn on America, man. It's just a matter of time. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Look up the word booties, man. It's not talking about your backside. It's not what's your derriere. Look up the word booties.
Strong's H, 4933.
Meshisah. Booty, spoil, plunder. Booty, spoil, plunder. And that's exactly what, and we know this talking about the end, what the nation's going to turn against the whore, but America is going to plunder, and they're going to spoil everything that's sweet, in their economy. And not only that, they're going to do that by way of bringing in their philosophy, this Western madness. And I'm pretty sure they got a huge alphabet community over there in Sweden anyway, because they one of those real liberal, liberal places. Let's continue reading, man. I don't want this to be too long, so I have to cut this short. Just get it to the point. Verse 8. Because there has spoiled many nations, America has spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of the men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Verse 9, it says, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness, to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the powers of evil. And that's what America try to do. They trying to encircle, Russia, because they want to be delivered from the powers of evil. Why? Because they call that the Russian bear. They call them the wicked nation. But what you're gonna see is that a lot of these, you go online and you read some of you go to the comments, the commentary that these people write. You'll see that people, the other nations, they hate America, and some of them can be those bots. But we know there's a lot of people that really hate America. Verse 10, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And America had done shamed itself by cutting off many people. If you understood, or you want to open up your eyes and you see the conditions that America put different countries in, you'll see that America has cut off many people. Verse 11, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe unto him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. And they're going to establish, it's all kind of iniquity going to take place over in Sweden. And I'm not saying that it's not already, but it's going to get worse once they get under the banner of NATO following the American ways. Verse 13, behold, it is not of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Hawashah host, that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. And that's what it is, because the book has already been written. Verse 14, and we'll stop here. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Hawashah, as the waters cover the earth. And that's it. But the wisdom is out here. The knowledge of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Hawashah here is out here. Sweden, they not turning to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Hawashah. Their government is not saying, hey, the prophets are back on the earth. Let's just follow what they say. If we follow what the prophets prophets say that everything will be all right in our country, and that we'll start calling on the true power of the Bible, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. But they want to join hands with the wicked one. And so we're gonna go right here to back to this article, and man, you're gonna go down here to the discussion tab. We're gonna read some of these comments, man. You'll get the gist of what people think about it. It said, pitiful Sweden, owned now by migrants who are imposing their law and customs. Yeah, you need protection, but it's a little bit too late for that. You should change your flag. They saying you should change your flag. He's probably saying you should change it to America. You know, let's see what this guy's saying. It said, with his weapons, ammo, and soldiers stationed in Europe, U.S. is hoping World War III will be fought mostly in Europe instead of in U.S. mainland, because they know that America is Babylon the Great. They know this. In their spirit, people know it, but they just can't call it. But they saying, Mr. America is trying to keep, you know, this great destruction from coming to their mainlands. It said, this is why U.S. like to have more NATO members. It's a strategy as such aims to strengthen U.S. Hegemony, with Europeans at risk being at the front line of World War III. And those people are correct, man. People are absolutely correct. Let's continue reading. It said that this guy, somebody named Claude Katz say, it say, if Russia keeps an eye on Alaska, the troops close by the Bering Straits in case you want to see the big giant Kodak bear in your property, Alaska. Somebody, Mike 123, laughing out loud. It said, with the big heavy backpacks, I wonder how fast they will be able to run when Russian bullets start flying. This guy in dark glasses look really cool, but they might limit his vision in the battlefield. The BMS, it says, Sweden will be used like a disposable tampon, you know, with his future country left in shambles and his military use as cannon fodder for promoting Anglo-U.S. global hegemony. You should have remained neutral, Sweden. You should have remained neutral, Sweden. You know, let's get down here. It said, enough already. U.S. have 750 bases in 80 countries. Enough is enough. Man, let's go back to the book of Habakkuk, man. Let's go back to the book of Habakkuk, man. Go to what, 5? Yea, the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Enough already. U.S. has 750 bases in 80 countries. Enough is enough. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desires as hell. You know, when America comes to your country and they put their base, your country is now in hell. And as death, why? Because when they bring their military to your bases, nothing but death, you know, rape, robbery, and destruction take place. And it cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Woo. Man, you couldn't even, hey, you can't make this up. Enough already. U.S. have 750 bases in 80 countries. Enough is enough. NATO, USA is master all other dumb puppets. USA, it mastered all other dumb puppets. This Anthony C., this guy here, let's see what he said. The U.S. would be worse than the herpes virus. They would never go away. Hey, why? Hey, because he transgresses by wine. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And this is one of the ways that the U.S. heapeth unto all people. They always want to come in and say, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to be your protection. We're going to do this for your economy. And this, we're going to put bases here and it's going to create jobs. But what they don't tell you is that, hey, they're going to bring their Western philosophies and their Western ways over there, and they're going to corrupt your whole entire communities. Real free world. USA is looking for a new guinea pig and seems to have found one. Maybe go ask Iran, Afghanistan, EST, how that worked out for them. And that's what I tell you, because they always, why? Let's go back. You can't make this up, man. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against them? These are parables, man, against them, against the USA. These are parables. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increased that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, man. In verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations. This is one way of spoiling many nations. How you spoil many nations? Put military bases in their countries and bring in your Western ways. Thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of man's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. And one guy said what? And let's go back to that, and we'll close it out there. And this one guy said what? The U.S. don't want to, if we can find it, yeah. With its weapons, ammo, and soldiers stationed in Europe, U.S. is hoping World War III will be fought mostly in Europe instead of in U.S. mainland. This is why U.S. likes to have more NATO members. Strategy as such aims at strengthening U.S. hegemony, with Europeans at risk being at the front line of World War III, man. We're going to close it out. We'll close it out at, what we was at. We'll close it out in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, as the waters cover the sea. As the water, that's how much the knowledge of the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, is going to be in this world. And it's already here. As the waters cover the sea, the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, his name is being proclaimed through the four corners of the earth. His name is being proclaimed through the four corners of the earth. It's time for you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans to repent and call on the name of the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. So in closing, I want to give all honor, all glory, all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rikakudash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to the Akim and Akwaf listening and learning. To you, I say Shalom.